All right, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, Lori Vallow trial. We've been listening to it pretty heavily over the last few weeks. Obviously, because she's on trial. Oh my goodness. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for popping in. We've got YouTube live over here. We've got TikTok live right here. Shout out as you guys are coming in. Tap the screen like crazy over here on TikTok. Hit the like button on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. And y'all, if you're new on TikTok, give me a follow. Would you? My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, give me a follow. I do live streams like this every single day. So shout out. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, everybody's starting to come in. Good morning. I love fishing. Thread Rum in the house. Andy, Guadalupe, Stacy, Susan, Kirsten, Jesse, Michelle, Casper Dawn. Shout out. Good morning, y'all. Thanks for popping in. YouTube as well. Single thread in the house. Good to see you. Y'all. Okay, so last night, we listened to the testimony from Lori Vallow's, I guess it was like a friend kind of at one point. And my goodness, it was pretty, they said explosive. And I think that's probably a good way to put it. Wow. Allegedly, Lori at one point told this lady that she was going to unalive her and cut her into pieces. It was pretty dark, y'all. I actually, if you haven't listened to it, we're streaming on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok, y'all. But I also started streaming to YouTube as well on the haunted side. So you can rewatch that from last night. If you haven't seen it, it's on the YouTube page. Just look under the Lori Vallow podcasts. I made it kind of a podcast format on YouTube. And by the way, there's over 400 of you now watching on TikTok. Y'all hit that follow button and make sure that you go and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. The haunted side, same name, links in the bio. You can rewatch the YouTube perspective of these live streams. But man, that was a lot. And thank you for the gifts already, y'all. Ren, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, guys. You don't have to send the gifts, but I do appreciate it. It does help support the channel. I'm trying to hit that TikTok logo goal too, y'all. 100 TikTok logos. Let's see. And keep tapping the screen like crazy. And thank you so much for the follows. I see a bunch of people following. So you guys are so sweet. Okay. Today, right now, they're in proceedings. So the court is in session right now. However, you guys know we don't get any live audio or live video from this trial. The judge said no to that. So we only get the recorded audio from each day at the end of that day. So we're still listening to Haley. Thank you so much getting that started. Galaxy Gang checking in. Hold on. I didn't even get my... I just started, y'all. I just went live, so I haven't even got anything. I guess I forgot to get everything set up. But Galaxy Gang checking in. Thank you for that. Very sweet of you. Thank you for the support. But today... So we're listening to what was recorded yesterday today, and then we'll listen to what was recorded today later on tonight when it's released. Specifically, though, y'all, I've got the testimony of Fremont County Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. I might actually have gotten that right, which is very odd for me to pronounce somebody's name correctly, especially usernames. You guys know that. I struggle with that for some reason. But Vince Kaaiakamanu. He's a detective with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. So let's jump into it. Let's see what he's got to say about this case. And y'all, if you have no idea what we're talking about, Lori Vallow, I would definitely start with watching. There's a docuseries called Sins of Our Mother. You can find it on Netflix. Some people have found it on other platforms, but Netflix is where I watched it. It's a 3-part series, and it does a very good job of breaking down everybody kind of involved in this case thus far. So Sins of Our Mother, go check that out on Netflix. In the meantime, though, y'all, let's jump into the testimony from Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. And I'm fairly certain I said that right, too, which is a win for me today. Can I get a W in the chat? That's a win for me already pronouncing names right. Okay. And y'all take a second, hit that follow button if you're new here. A bunch of new people in TikTok. I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you. And thanks for the gifts. You guys don't have to do that. All right, let's keep going.
All right, from the state, who will be calling the next witness?
I will be, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Blake, you can call your next witness.
Detective Vincent Kaaiakamanu.
Kaaiakamanu. I think I got it right. Sunshine. Good to see you. Gray Wolf, thanks for popping in on YouTube. Samantha Dungeon. Chrissy, thank you. This is me. Thank you. Thanks for the gifts, y'all. You don't have to do that. Dee, good morning. Thank you.
All right, before we get started with testimony, Detective Kaaiakamanu, have you viewed any of the trial testimony in this case in any way, read it or listened to it since the trial started?
I have not.
Okay, thank you for that. When you're being questioned, please talk directly into the mic, use verbal response.
And audio check, y'all. YouTube, TikTok, thumbs up in the chat if the audio is good. It's basically up all the way, but if it's too loud, let me know.
Questions, and please don't talk over the top of any attorney questioning you so we can keep a clear record.
Nightmare Nation,
with that in mind, Ms. Blake, if you'd like to inquire on direct, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Vincent Keone Kaaiakamanu. Last is Kaaiakamanu.
Where are you currently employed?
Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed there?
18 years.
What is your current title and/or position?
I'm currently a sergeant over the detective division and our school resource officers.
Have you held prior positions within the Fremont County Sheriff's Office?
I have. Before moving over to the detective division, I was a supervisor over patrol division. Before that, I also worked in our jail.
Do you have any specialized training in order to be a peace officer?
I do. I attended the Idaho Post Standards and Training. I went through several other trainings that included homicide trainings, child sex cases, narcotics investigation. I also hold a certificate in my advanced certificate, my intermediate certificate, my supervisor certificate, and command training certificate.
Do you recall receiving a phone call in the early morning hours of October 19th of 2019?
I do.
So this is when Tammy Daybell, passed. I have to say that because we're live on TikTok. YouTube, you can say some things, but TikTok, y'all don't let me say very much. But yeah, she ended up finding out she didn't just pass away naturally, peacefully in her sleep. Somebody stopped her from breathing. The forensic pathologist found out she was asphyxiated. But let's keep listening. And by the way, if you're new here, hit that follow button. Y'all, we're listening to the Lori Vallow trial. There's not live audio, unfortunately. The judge said no to live audio, but we get the audio recorded each day at the end of the day. So this is the second half of what happened yesterday afternoon.
Who called you?
That morning, I actually missed the call from Deputy Greenhalgh. Once I noticed I missed the call, I called her back.
And was that call about an unattended death?
Yes.
Did you learn who the decedent was?
Yes, I did.
And who was that?
Tammy Daybell.
And can you tell us why Deputy Greenhalgh had reached out to you?
So that night I was the on-call detective, and that's why she gave me a call.
And you say you'd missed the call. Was there a reason that you missed the initial call?
Earlier that night around 11 o'clock, I was called out to assist Idaho Falls PD in an officer-involved shooting. I was down there till about 4:30. Once I got done with that, came home and fell asleep and missed her call.
Did you call her back shortly after that?
It was approximately about an hour and a half.
Y'all, thank you for the follows on TikTok. Prissy, thanks for the TikTok logos. Y'all, let's hit that goal. And Gray Wolf, welcome back. Thank you for joining the YouTube channel. Very, very sweet of you guys. Thanks for the support. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep going. Again, y'all, we're listening to Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. I'm pronouncing that right. It's been verified. That's a win for me to pronounce a name right. Y'all know that. His testimony from yesterday, again, because we don't get the live audio. We only get what was recorded each day at the end of the day. So we got through half of it last night. This is the second half of it right now.
When you did reach her, do you know if she'd already been in contact with another detective with Fremont County?
She had been in contact with Detective Mattingly.
And do you both take calls when you're not on duty?
Yes.
And you indicated that you were down assisting with an investigation in an officer-involved shooting. Do you also assist other agencies as part of your job duties?
I do.
When the deputy called you that night, was that standard procedure at the time or common practice?
It was common practice, yes.
Did she indicate anything to you regarding there being any suspicious circumstances surrounding the death of Tammy Daybell at that time?
At that time, she did not. When I got a hold of her, she had already informed me that she talked to Detective Mattingly as well. I asked her if there's anything out of the ordinary at the house, if Tammy Daybell's body was anything suspicious with it, if there's any forced entry into the house. She informed me there was not. She also informed me that there were 2 coroners on scene as well. And again, she had already talked to Detective Mattingly before myself.
Had you heard Tammy Daybell's name prior to receiving that phone call from the deputy?
No.
Later on, well, let me back up. At some point, are you aware if an investigation was started into the circumstances surrounding Tammy Daybell's death?
After her death, yes, I was made aware.
And the investigation was not started immediately after her death, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you know approximately when Fremont County Sheriff's Office began investigating Tammy Daybell's death?
I believe Fremont County Sheriff's Office got involved approximately the end of October 2019.
So at least a few weeks after her death, approximately.
Yes.
Well, thank you for the gifts. You do not have to do that. Pink Shadow, Prissy, thank you so much for the TikTok logos. I think we're very close. We're like 7 away from hitting that goal. Thank you so much for that. And shout out to YouTube as well, y'all. We're live streaming on YouTube. The OGs over there, thank you so much for the support, y'all. I really appreciate you guys being here. And TikTok, hit that follow button. And if you haven't yet, make sure you go subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, especially when we start watching more cases where the live stream, where they're actually live streaming the proceedings. That I'm going to probably be doing a lot more over on YouTube, at least to see the video, because TikTok, it's really hard to do that, unfortunately. Yeah, so hit that follow button, y'all. Keep tapping the screen. Let's go for 25K on the likes over here. And again, thank you for being here, you guys. Hit the follow button. My name is Patrick. If you like true crime content, y'all, I live stream every day, multiple times a day. So if you like this kind of content, podcast kind of vibe with the commentary and stuff, definitely hit that follow button. And keep in mind, y'all, if you don't like the interruptions and you don't like the talking between, all this audio you can find on YouTube. Shout out to East Idaho News on YouTube. He does a great job of uploading all of the audio very quickly. So you can definitely head over and listen to all of that, all of this without any breaks or pauses if you want to. But shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for the follows. Really appreciate that. And it looks like I got to set another goal. But let's jump back in. Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. I messed it up the first time. Kaaiakamanu. He's a detective with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, testifying in Lori Vallow's case. All right, let's keep going.
Were you personally involved at the beginning of the investigation?
I was not.
At what point did you become personally involved in the investigation?
I got involved the end of March of 2020.
When you became involved in the investigation, are you aware if there were other related investigations being conducted by other agencies?
I was.
And what were those other investigations regarding?
I was made aware of an investigation on the attempted shooting of Brandon Boudreaux out of Gilbert, Arizona. I was also made aware of 2 missing kids, JJ and Tylee, and that investigation was also underway.
And I may have missed it, but were you also aware of an investigation involving the death of Charles Vallow?
Yes, I was with Chandler PD.
Mm-hmm. And that's Lori Vallow's 4th husband, y'all, Charles Vallow, how she got the name Lori Vallow. And the 4th husband was shot by her brother, Alex Cox, allegedly in self-defense. That has now been reopened and is being investigated as a homicide as well. And then she marries Chad Daybell, and that's her 5th husband. And that is the guy that is also facing these charges. So let's keep going. Thanks for the fires too, y'all. I put it to 100 fires on TikTok, and we're almost halfway there. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the live stream. And by the way, y'all, TikTok, we're live streaming here, and YouTube, we're live streaming as well. So make sure TikTok, you guys go and subscribe to the YouTube, because there's over 500 of you guys watching on TikTok. Shout out to all you guys. I really appreciate you being here. Hit that follow button, would you?
Would it be fair to say that this became a joint investigation?
Yes.
Did you also assist in the investigation regarding the missing children?
I did.
During your investigation, did you learn of a prior incident involving Tammy Daybell that occurred on October 9th of 2019?
I did.
And what did you learn regarding that?
Once I got involved with this investigation and looking further into other reports, I was made aware of an attempted shooting on Tammy Daybell.
And that had occurred on October 9th of 2019?
Correct.
Were you personally involved in that investigation?
I did not respond to that, no.
As part of your investigation into the death of Tammy Daybell, did you review that incident?
I did.
As part of your duties and involvement in the investigation, did you also review some documents that were recovered from a device belonging to Tammy Daybell?
Oh, this is, I think, where they read the email, I believe. I think they're about to read an email, y'all. Idaho grandma watching from Idaho. They found her hair on the duct tape. Yes, y'all, that was one of the biggest pieces of evidence that was discovered this week. It was, I believe it was on Monday, wasn't it? The forensic scientist, Keely Coleman, she found, or she didn't find it, but when the bodies were recovered, JJ, specifically the bag and the duct tape that was used to conceal his body to be buried, they found a single hair. Investigators found a single hair on the adhesive side of the duct tape. When it was sent for forensic testing, Keely Coleman, she was able to match that DNA. She compared it to Tylee Ryan. It was not Tylee Ryan's hair. She compared it to Melanie Gibb. It was not Melanie's hair. And then she compared it to Lori Vallow, y'all, the one on trial right now. And there was a 1 in 71 billion % chance the hair came from Lori Vallow and not some other random person in the public. 1 in 71 billion. So one of her hairs was found on the duct tape that was on the bags that JJ was buried in. And y'all, we listened to the forensic pathologist talk and testify about how the cause and the manner of JJ's passing. And y'all, it was disturbing. Like whoever is responsible for that, what that person was capable of is like vile. That poor kid, 7 years old, y'all. unthinkable. Unthinkable. Yeah. So let's. Yeah. So that's a good point. Thank you for bringing up the tape. Yep. Okay. Let's keep listening, guys. If you're new here, hit that follow button. Almost 700 watching on TikTok now. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate it. If you want to help support the channel, hit me with those fires real quick, y'all. If you want to. Obviously, you don't have to, but I do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let's see if we can hit that goal. Thank you for the follows, though. I really appreciate that. And make sure you guys click the links in the bio and come over to and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Shout out to YouTube. We're live streaming here also. The OGs over here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. All right, let's keep going. Y'all, this is the audio from yesterday, the second half of the proceedings. Because we don't get live audio, we only get the recordings from each day at the very end of that day. So we listened to half of it last night, and we're listening to the rest of it this morning. And this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu, got it right, from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and he is a detective there testifying in the Lori Vallow case. So, all right, let's keep going.
Can you re-ask that?
Yes. As part of your investigation, were you involved or did you review some documents recovered linked to Tammy's phone and or her email account?
Great, Wolf.
I did.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And do you recall reviewing a message that Tammy Daybell had sent to her son, Mark Daybell?
I did review that. Yes.
And Your Honor, I'd ask that the court and the witness be handed State's Exhibit 291. Defense should have a copy. I have a copy here for the witness to review for the court and a courtesy copy for Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the fires. You're very sweet. 42. What? Oh my goodness. Oh, we're almost there.
And if you would look that over, I think it may start at the bottom of the first page and continue on.
Bonnie, hello from Maryland. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Liv, that is ironic. If anyone has a dark soul,
Okay. Yeah.
it's them.
Do you recognize that message?
I do.
Have you seen it before?
I have.
Your Honor, the state would move for the admission of State's Exhibit 291.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, may I have voir dire?
Yes.
So as far as this Exhibit 291, how did you come into contact with this exhibit?
I came in contact with this exhibit through a warrant that I did on Tammy Daybell's email.
Okay. And you used this exhibit during the course of your investigation?
Yes,
I-
thank you so much.
Not this exact exhibit, no.
Judge, I'm going to object that he doesn't have personal knowledge of it, and it's not proper to bring it in with him.
And Your Honor, if I may respond.
Yes. Ms.
I believe it's actually, and I should have probably clarified this, I believe it's already been admitted under State's Exhibit 108, which was the admission of the email linked to Tammy Daybell. This is simply an extraction from that exhibit and has been provided its own exhibit number.
Then I would object to it being cumulative.
And Your Honor, it has not been testified to. It's simply been provided as part of a global exhibit. And as to the first objection by him, I think the detective has identified this as a message he reviewed. This was reviewed as part of a phone extraction, which we simply can't pull over, that we couldn't bring in the exact phone extraction. So it's a copy of that.
All right. I'll need a moment, I think, to review what is Exhibit 108. Can you explain a little more about what 108 is?
108 was done with a business record certificate, is my understanding, and it contains the information retrieved from that email search warrant that the officer referenced, that the detective referenced.
All right. So give me just a moment, please.
I will give the judge that he's fair. And he really is pretty even on both sides. He's been doing a very good job. And keep in mind, y'all, the defense attorneys in this case, it's like grasping at straws, honestly, in my opinion. Because, I mean, you're kind of defending the indefensible, right? I mean, but Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep listening. Steph, thank you so much for the finger heart show. I updated the goal. I felt incredible this morning. Thank you so much. And while they're reviewing that TikTok, y'all, almost 800 of you guys watching now. Make sure you hit that follow button. My name's Patrick. I like true crime content.
And I was just clarifying with co-counsel. So the 108 is the business record certification for those documents that were provided to defense in discovery. We do have a 108A that has been provided. This was given its own exhibit number of 291, but it could be 108B. It's under that same business record certification.
Judge, I'll just renew my objection that it's cumulative. If we need to use 108, then we should use 108.
And again, to clarify, 108 was only the business record certification, not the full records being admitted. I believe we'd done the certificates in order to be able to admit portions of those without admitting the full record.
108 corresponds to the Fitbit information.
It should also reference tammy.daybell@gmail.com as the email.
Doris, thank you so much. Lady Louvet, thank you so much. What are they doing out there?
All right, apologies, but let me have a brief sidebar with counsel if I can.
I'm going to fast forward just a little bit, y'all, because they're, I'm pretty sure they end up reading the email, but I'm going to fast forward just so we can get to back to where they're talking. Or testifying.
108, which has previously been admitted, which is the affidavit of records custodian. Contained within 108 also is the records for the email address that corresponds with the proposed exhibit 291. Having considered that foundation that's already in the record through 108, I've considered the objection of the defense, and that will be overruled, and exhibit number 291 is admitted.
So they are going to read it. By the way, shout out almost 900 of you guys watching on TikTok now. Y'all hit that follow button, please. And thank you. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for the support too. Doris, thank you for the finger hearts. Y'all are so sweet. Keep tapping the screen too, y'all. Let's go for 25K on the likes. Actually, we're almost there. Let's go for 50K on the likes. You guys are unbelievable. And once again, y'all, we're listening to the trial audio from Lori Vallow. She's on trial now, the Doomsday Mom. If you have no idea who she is or what we're talking about, a good place to start if you want to have a deep dive into this case. Sins of Our Mother. It's a Netflix documentary, 3-part docuseries. That is a wonderful place to start. It does a great job of breaking down kind of everybody involved up until now when the trial started. So that's a good place to start. Sins of Our Mother. So let's keep going. And again, y'all, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And TikTok, make sure you hit that follow button and make sure you go and subscribe to the YouTube as well. Same name, links in the bio, the Haunted side over on YouTube. And shout out to YouTube because we're live streaming over there as well. All right, let's keep going.
And Your Honor, I would actually ask that the witness be allowed to keep that exhibit momentarily.
The 291, okay.
Yes, the 291.
I'd ask that he have to turn it over. I don't want him referring to it and reading from it if he's not gonna.
And
I don't want him testifying from it, I guess.
Your Honor, I was going to ask that he read an excerpt from it. I can publish it to the jury, I guess, and have him read from that. But
I think that would be more appropriate, Ms. Blake, then if you
Yep.
want to publish it.
Sammy, thank you. This is me. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. Brooklyn, thank you. And y'all, we're listening to Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. I can't believe I'm saying that right, because I'm horrible at pronouncing names typically. And they're about to. There was some back and forth about an email that he received from a warrant. It's an email that Tammy Daybell sent, And so they were going back and forth to see if they were going to be able to admit it, and it looks like they are. And so they're going to read that here in just a second. Michelle, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're part of the family. I'm glad you enjoying the live. Brittany, thank you for the follow. Chris, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Kristen, thank you. Stevie, thank you. Broke Down Palace. There's no video or live audio from the trial because the witnesses are not supposed to hear the others' testimonies. And so in an effort to kind of minimize the chances of that happening, the judge said no to live streaming. I speculate personally, we've listened to almost all of the audio so far, and this courtroom is like plagued with technical issues. The projectors, the microphones, even the laser pointer that some of the witnesses were using stopped working. So I imagine that adding another layer of tech onto this trial, the judge was like, no, I'm good, because they've had to stop several times because microphones weren't working or just all kinds of different issues. So, I mean, maybe it had nothing to do with it, but from what I've listened to, it seems like maybe the judge was like, yeah, I don't want to deal with any of that stuff either. Like if the live stream goes down or something like that, they'd have to delay the trial or something like that. So I think that's why, but mainly because the testimonies are not supposed to be heard by each person before their testimony. So if you're testifying today, you shouldn't have heard what was testified yesterday or days prior. But that's why. But let's keep going. Y'all, I appreciate you being here. Tap screen like crazy over here on TikTok. And TikTok, we're live streaming on YouTube as well. Shout out to YouTube. Thanks for being here, you guys. Okay, let's keep going. And we hit that goal too. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for the love. All right, let's go.
Detective, can you see that on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
And referencing the bottom, can you read into the record who this message is being sent from and who it's being sent to?
This message is sent from tammy.daybell@gmail.com. Tammy Daybell, sent to mark.daybell@missionary.org. Mark Daybell, timestamped 10/13/2019 at 2:38:18.
Thank you so much. Steph, thank you again. You're so sweet. Thank you for the heart.
And can you also see that on the screen?
Thank you.
Yes.
And is this a portion of that email?
Yes.
And could you read that into the record, starting with the now?
Now, on the same day, I was coming home from clogging. It was about
I'm
9.
going to object. I think we need some context as to who's speaking, who's writing this, what's going on.
Your Honor, he already indicated who the message was being sent from and who it was being sent to.
Yeah, the objection's overruled.
If you want to go ahead and start again there.
Yes. Now, on the same day, I was coming home from clogging. It was about 9:15, and I backed into the front driveway. I was getting some items out of the back seat. We had made freezer meals at enrichment night, and my clogging shoes. I realized someone was by the back of the car. I looked up, thinking it was Dad or Garth to help me carry stuff in. Nope. It was a guy dressed in black with a ski mask on, pointing a rifle at me. I think I was a bit in shock because I just said, "What do you think you were doing?" Then I noticed a rifle was actually a paintball gun. It had a hopper on the top. The guy started pulling the trigger, and I could just hear the clicking of a whooshing sound of an empty paintball gun. He stayed standing by the back of the car, just pulling the trigger while pointing the gun at me. For some reason, I just kept asking him what he thought he was doing. At that point, I was actually more annoyed than scared. Because he was standing between me and the door, and he didn't step towards me or even say anything.
Y'all. And keep in mind, the one of the other detectives, I think it was yesterday or the day before, had testified that Alex Cox, Lori Vallow's brother, had been in the vicinity. His cell phone data had shown that he was in the vicinity of a Sportsman's Warehouse, and he had bought several items of clothing, allegedly. They had a receipt. It was a cash transaction, but his phone was there when that receipt was printed, or in that vicinity. They found a pair of pants that matched the pair of pants that was bought on that receipt to a pair of pants that was in his possession, well, in his apartment after he had passed. But they couldn't find but he had bought a black mask, also like a ski mask, and some other things that corresponded to this. So what do y'all think? Was that Alex? Was that Alex Cox that did this? And another thing, and this is just me, and I don't know, y'all let me know, is Idaho a stand your ground state? Because if I'm trying to get something out of the back of my car, and the next thing I know, there's somebody that's like black clad with a ski mask on with something that looks like a rifle. She said that she noticed it was a paintball gun because of the hopper on top. But if I notice something like that, I mean, it's probably going to be a different outcome than me being like, what are you doing here? What's going on? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, and supposedly it was empty, or maybe it jammed or something like that. But what was the point of that? Like, what was it, to intimidate her? Like, I don't know. Like, that's one of the parts of this case that's still strange to me. It's just like, what was the reasoning behind that? Who, if it was Alex, I don't know. Y'all tell me. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little bit strange. Okay, but let's keep listening. I want to hear the rest of this email. And again, y'all, some people are asking who's on the stand. This is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu, and he is with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and he's testifying because he was the one who got the warrant to have these emails. So he's reading Tammy's email right now. He's testifying to that right now. And y'all, thank you so much. Still like almost 700 of you guys watching on TikTok. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for being here. Take a second, hit that follow button, would you please? My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, I do these live streams every day. In fact, I started also live streaming on YouTube as well. So we got both. We're doing a little simulcast. So if you want to watch the replay of this from the YouTube perspective, y'all, it's over on YouTube. The Haunted Side, same name, links in the bio. Please take a second to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thank you for the gifts, y'all. You do not have to do that, but I do appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And we're trying to hit the little hand hearts right now. So thank you for that, guys. I really appreciate it. But I'll shut up now and we'll keep listening to the testimony. Gigi, thank you for the rose. Foxy, good to see you. Good morning.
And he didn't step towards me or even say anything. The scared part came after, when my brain thought of what things that could have happened.
Foxy, thank you. So sweet.
The thought crossed my mind to hit him with my clogging shoes, but first I looked towards the house and yelled, "Chad." The guy ran around the house, around the north side of the house. I ran in the house and got Dad and Garth. They looked outside, but we couldn't find him. We called the police and reported it. They suspect it was a bipolar teenager who lives down the street and walks around a lot. But Matt Price has an even better theory.
And I'll have you stop there. And through your investigation, you had reviewed that email?
Correct.
And that appears to be, in Tammy's own words, a description of the events of October 9th, 2019?
Correct.
When you were looking into this investigation, did you end up looking at additional information from a Homer J. Maximus account?
I did.
And this was the one that belonged to Alex Cox, y'all. And every time they say Homer J, I want to hear Simpson, but we hear Maximus, unfortunately.
And Your Honor, I have what's been marked as State's Exhibit 107B, if I can have the court. And I think I'm missing a courtesy copy for Your Honor, so I apologize. This is going to be a PowerPoint exhibit, so the actual exhibit would be on a jump drive. But if I could have the witness shown a copy, defense has been provided a copy, and there's another copy for the court.
By the way, y'all, TikTok shout out. We're less than 100 away from 56,000 followers. You guys are incredible. I started doing this through.
And if you could look through those pages.
4 months ago, you guys have been nothing but supportive of the channel. Huge shout out, y'all. Take a second, hit that follow button if you like true crime. My name's Patrick. Welcome to the family. Get to know the people down here in the chat, y'all.
And do you recognize those pages?
I do.
Amazing people.
And did you prepare or assist in preparing those in anticipation of your testimony today?
I did.
And do they in fact summarize some of the work and reviews that you conducted?
Yes.
Would they aid in your testimony today?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I would move for admission of State's Exhibit 107B.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that Detective Kaaiakamanu is going to use this to not only reference different things in his own knowledge, but he's simply going to read from it. This is what the state's been doing in the past. They're publishing these summaries and having the detectives or the agents read from these. And I believe that it's improper for the detective to read from an exhibit and refresh his recollection at will because he has it right in front of him that's been published to the jury and the gallery.
All right, response to that, Ms. Blake?
Your Honor, if it's an exhibit, that is the purpose of creating the summary exhibit, is when there is a lot of information and you're going to reference only some of it, is to highlight that and to be able to reference it when it's detailed information. We just had the detective read from a summary, or excuse me, from an exhibit that if we'd ask him to memorize that whole thing is just not plausible. And so I think this is exactly why it does aid in the testimony and it is allowed for under the rules.
What do you guys think? I mean, because technically you are supposed to testify from your own recollection, your own memory. You're not supposed to have a script prepared where you're just like, good morning, my name, and read off that testimony. You're supposed to testify from memory. You can review notes, but then you can't read from them. That's true. But like she said, it would be implausible for him to memorize that entire excerpt from that email. So let's see. I imagine the judge is going to overrule that objection. Let's see.
All right, the court's reviewed Idaho Rule of Evidence 1006 and would note that it does provide for the use of summaries if there is contents of voluminous writings, which has been established through the foundation. So for that reason, the court will allow for the PowerPoint presentation of 107B, but would note also that it's a demonstrative exhibit and the jury will be instructed as such.
Thank you, Your Honor. Permission to publish?
You may publish.
And I think I'd ask, so just to clarify, did you review some search history linked to a Homer J. Maximus account?
Yes, I did.
Did you determine who is identified as owning or being linked to the Homer J. Maximus account?
I did.
And who is that?
Alex Cox.
And through your investigation, did you learn who Alex Cox is or was?
I did.
And who is that?
Alex Cox is the brother to Lori Vallow Daybell and is also the uncle to JJ and Tylee.
animal.
And in looking through these searches, were there some searches that stood out to you?
There were.
And what were some of the searches that stood out?
RB, and anybody else that's just tuning in, y'all, this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. So he's a detective with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. And he was the one who got a search warrant for Tammy Daybell's emails and Alex Cox's cell phone records and stuff like that as well. So he's testifying to that right now. And everybody, shout out, welcome. If you're new here, hit that follow button. If you're new on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, because we're live streaming on both, y'all. Thank you for being here. And TikTok, we're like very close to 50,000 likes. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you for that. And we're trying to hit this little hand heart goal, y'all. If you want to help support the channel, hit me with the little hand heart, would you? Obviously, you don't have to, but I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. And let's keep going. So this is, again, from yesterday's testimony, because we can't listen live. The judge said no to live streams or live audio. So we get the audio from each day at the end of the day. So this is the second half of what happened yesterday. And let's keep going.
So throughout our investigation, this was
And I'm going to object that he's just going to read directly from the PowerPoint.
And Your Honor, I don't even think he started to read from it. He was providing explanation.
All right, I'll keep the objection in mind, but you can go.
Yeah, keep watching. Maybe don't keep watching because the live stream podcast vibe and format is to actually talk and converse and ask questions and thank people and that kind of stuff. So again, all this audio is on YouTube. You can just, it's East Idaho News. Shout out to East Idaho News. That's who I get all this this audio from. He does a great job of posting it. But yeah, the point of a podcast is to talk and discuss and things like that. So if this is not your style, no worries. It's all good. I don't take it personal. All this audio is available on TikTok. And if you really want, just keep scrolling because, I mean, you might find there's people that sleep and you can wake them up by sending gifts and stuff. I mean, that you could like that. And there's people who don't talk at all until their type joins the chat. That might be, I mean, they might talk. You might be their type. You're more than welcome to continue on and find something that you do enjoy.
Go ahead and answer the question, Detective.
throughout our investigation. This was an ongoing and a joint investigation with several different agencies: Fremont County, Rexburg PD, Arizona, and the FBI. Throughout the investigation, I learned of the attempted shooting on Brandon Boudreaux. I also learned of the homicide on Charles Vallow. I also learned of the two missing kids, JJ and Tylee. And then Fremont County started their investigation into Tammy Daybell. Looking through Homer J. Maximus and the Google search, there were a couple dates that I was looking at for my investigation over Tammy Daybell. But while looking through those and having all the information in my head, these other dates stuck out with me when I saw them. The first date that stuck out was the October 1st. October 1st, Alex Googles the address of the 3875 East Phelp in Gilbert, Arizona. This address is known to where Brandon Boudreaux was living at the time. The next day he searches the same address, but he searches directions how to get to that address. This search was done at 7:15 a.m. and later on in the morning, Brandon Boudreaux was shot at.
And were you able to determine, or did you see if that address was ever searched for again related to the Homer J. Maximus records you reviewed?
Yeah, guys, be kind. Be kind in the chat. There's enough evil in this world, clearly. That's why we're doing these live streams. Let's be good people, y'all. Speaking of which, hit that follow button, guys. Help me get to 100,000. Y'all, that's the goal. 100,000 followers by the end of May. We're at almost 56,000 now on TikTok. So huge shout out to y'all. I really appreciate it. Let's keep going.
I did not see any other searches after that.
And thank you for the gifts, you guys. We're trying to hit those little hand hearts right now. Shout out to y'all for that. I really appreciate y'all. You don't have to do that, though. Keep that in mind.
And you had talked about some specific dates that you were looking at involving the investigation into Tammy Daybell's death. What were some of the specific dates you were looking at related to Tammy?
The specific dates that I was looking at was through October, around the 7th, the 8th, and the time of the attempted shooting, and later on.
Shout out to October 8th. That's my birthday, y'all. It's crazy to think about, like, on my birthday in 2019, this was all happening. It's crazy to think about that kind of stuff sometimes.
And in talking about that attempted shooting, were there some searches that drew your attention?
There were on October, again, in this investigation and knowing where Tammy Daybell lives. They live in a farm area. Behind their house is a very big open field, a river, several hundred yards behind their house on the east side. And so looking through Homer J. Maximus on October 8th, it was discovered that Alex had Googled 6.5 Grendel drop from 100 to 200 yards and also 100 to 300 yards. This was significant because at the time of my investigation, I felt that Alex was trying to figure out where he needed to be at the time and have an accurate shot on the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell.
Wow.
And at some point, did you learn or did you review where Alex Cox's data location showed him to be on October 9th earlier in the day?
Yes, earlier in the day, Alex Daybell was shown with...
And I think, sorry to interrupt, I think you said Alex Daybell. Do you mean Alex Cox?
Correction, yes, Alex Cox. His GPS was shown at 4:37 or 4:47 heading north on 1900 East in Rexburg, Idaho, which is towards the Daybell residence.
You know, so many names in this, so many people, so many names, so many last names. I mean, Lori Vallow alone, 5 husbands. 5.
Once he gets by that residence, which is 200 north, he takes a right, which is heading east to Highway 20. Once he gets to Highway 20, he turns around and makes that route again around the Daybell residence. This all happens in between the 4:47 time and the 5:03 time.
Joyce, thank you.
During my investigation, what I feel that he was doing was scoping out the area of Tamara Daybell's home.
Objection. This is speculative.
I will sustain that, and
Move to strike.
the answer will be stricken, and please don't consider that last response, ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Did you review any searches?
He is. I mean, that makes sense. But see, that's a fair judge right there, because to me it seems like, well, that he is the investigator and he's saying what he thinks, but again, see, I mean, the defense is the judge is leaning both ways, y'all. He's not just straight up like, no, overruled.
Is conducted on the Homer J. Maximus account for October 9th of 2019?
I did.
And what, if anything, about those caught your attention?
Alex Cox on that day also Googled how to make a ghillie suit.
Thank you.
How
to make?
Or correction. On that date, he searched the muzzle energy of a 6.5 Grendel and
I'm going to object to him. I'm going to object to him identifying it, whoever was making these queries as being a specific person. I don't think he can prove that. I think that's speculative.
All right. I think there should be a clarification that these were searches attributed to the email, but maybe not that we knew an individual made the searches.
Thank you.
And just to clarify, these searches were conducted on the Homer J. Maximus account?
Correct.
Lauren, thank you so much for the hand hearts. Y'all, thank you for the hand hearts on TikTok. I appreciate the gifts. You don't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. We're almost there. 8 more to go. We'll hit that goal. You guys are outstanding. Thank you. And make sure you hit the follow button, y'all. Almost 800 of you guys watching. My name's Patrick. Welcome to the family. If you like true crime content, this is what I do. I do live streams on this channel every single day. And y'all, I started doing simultaneously live streaming. Simulcast, is that the word? On YouTube as well. Shout out to YouTube. It's good to see you guys also. And if you're watching on TikTok, y'all, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel as well. Very much appreciated. Let's keep on going and keep tapping the screen, y'all. Let's go for 75K on the likes. I appreciate you guys. You guys and gals, amazing. Thank you so much. Casper, thank you.
Correct.
And who was that account linked to during your investigation?
During my investigation, that account was associated and linked to Alex Cox.
And on October 9th, what about the searches conducted on the Homer J. Maximus account caught your attention?
On the 9th, it was the muzzle energy of a 6.5 Grindle. It was also the sizing of frog togs.
One sarcastic.
The pants.
Sheila.
This was significant.
That's the pants they found, y'all. So when Alex passed, nobody collected his stuff. Keep that in mind, y'all, too. She cared about her brother, but after he passed, they didn't even collect his stuff. Nobody collected his stuff. It just sat there, and the property management company ended up throwing some of it away, but kept some of it. And they kept these pants, thankfully, because I think he's probably going to mention that they matched it to the receipt.
That same day, the Homer J. Maximus.
I'm objecting to him indicating that it's a specific person.
Again, Ms. Blake, if we could just have response, well, he'll make the responses he makes, but clarify that these are attributed to an email.
And I think he had just started to do that as the objection was being made.
All right, thank you, Ms. Blake.
The Homer J. Maximus email and the device that's associated with was shown at Sportsman's Warehouse in Idaho Falls.
Lola, what did Alex pass from? Allegedly natural causes. However, he was cremated almost immediately. No autopsy. I don't know. To me, a little bit suspicious, especially with other people in this case that supposedly passed of natural causes. Come to find out, they had been asphyxiated and stopped from breathing. So, yeah, allegedly, exactly.
Through our investigation, we learned that someone had purchased frog tog pants, flip mitts, and winter hat that can turn into a mask.
And was that purchase made at the same time the Homer J. Maximus, the device linked to Alex, was at the Sportsman's Warehouse?
Yes.
That's what I said earlier, y'all.
And then the attempted shooting, in fact, took place on October 9th of 2019. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you look at some searches subsequent to that date?
After that date on October 9th, when I was looking, it stuck out to me. That account of Homer J. Maximus Googled how to prep an AR for cold, how to make your AR function in cold weather, AR cold weather operations, how does Hornady one shot work in cold, is one shot good lube for an AR-15 in 0 degrees, how to prep your AR-15 in winter shooting, how to help your AR load in the cold, do steel AR mag rings shrink in the cold. He also did a YouTube search on shooting an AR-15 at 37 degrees below zero.
Oh my God, 37 degrees below zero. Doesn't get that cold in Idaho, does it? That sounds like our our Canadian friends up there. That sounds like Berta. That's Grand Prairie up there. Oh my God.
And you reside in the Fremont County area or close by, is that correct?
Correct.
Are Octobers in Fremont County, do they tend to be cold?
They do.
Was there anything about this October that you recall with regard to the temperature?
On the temperature of this day or around this day, it was 26 degrees.
Did you find additional searches conducted subsequent to that October 9th attempted shooting?
I did. On October 12th, Homer J. Maximus is searching how to attach a cover to a ghillie suit. Will a Grendel 6.5 shoot through a windshield? FBI simulating shooting a 5.56 through a car door and wall.
Jesus, why?
What caliber will penetrate a windshield? 2008 Dodge Dakota steel body thickness. What gauge steel are?
Don't tell me that's the truck.
The doors on a Dodge Dakota made of? How thick is 22 gauge steel? How to drill baffles to make suppressors.
And Your Honor, I'm going to object to all of these answers. He's just been reading from the exhibit. It's not coming from his memory, it's coming from the exhibit.
Well, I think there should at least be a reference. I think summary's been admitted. It's allowed to be referenced, but there needs to be distinguishing between either personal testimony or simply taking the information straight from the exhibit.
And those searches are designated on this slide, is that correct?
Correct.
And they were searches you discovered through your investigation, is that correct?
Correct.
When we look at those searches, what about some of those stood out to you in this investigation?
The ones that stuck out to me were the searches on the Dodge Dakota. Tammy Daybell and Chad Daybell had a 2004 Dodge Dakota registered to them.
Oh, my word. Grammy Elizabeth, I saw you go dun, dun, dun. I knew it was coming. Wow. Well, there you go. I mean, I guess it's a good time to ask y'all. Okay, so specifically, because they're talking about something that is associated with Alex Cox, Lori's brother. So what do y'all think Lori Vallow specific, y'all? I try to ask this at least a couple of times throughout the stream. With all the evidence we've heard, Lori Vallow specific, do you think she is guilty or not guilty? Type it in the chat. YouTube, I want to see you guys type it. TikTok, I know you guys are going to fill the chat up because there's like over 800 of you guys watching. Do you think she's guilty or not guilty? If you think she's guilty, do you think she assisted in these crimes? She was there. She has blood on her hands, so to speak. Or do you think she just conspired? Ringleader, but she didn't actually do it. Y'all let me know. Guilty, 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 guilty as hell. Guilty. Yes, the whole thing. Guilty, conspired. Yes, mastermind behind it all. She's guilty, but Alex was her hitman. Ringleader, guilty, guilty, guilty and assisted, guilty and conspired. Guilty as hell. Guilty and part of the crime. Conspired. I can't speak today. 100% guilty, and yes, guilty AF. She organized but had her hands in it somehow. Oh, snap. Gina, hey, checking in on my work break. Good to see you, Gina. Thanks for popping in. So the overwhelming consensus is guilty. Swarnus is guilty over here. The Awoken One, good to see you on YouTube also. Thanks for popping in, you guys. Okay, so I mean, yeah, pretty much guilty, and a lot of you guys think she helped, and a lot of guys think she absolutely conspired on top of that. They need to prove blood. Yeah. Carrie, absolutely. Okay, well, let's keep going, y'all. Again, this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. Y'all, I don't pronounce names right ever, and I think I'm actually getting that one right. Testifying, and this is, again, from yesterday's proceedings because there's no live audio or live streams. So we don't get to listen live to what's happening right now. We only get the audio from each day at the end of the day. So we listened to half of yesterday last night, and this is the second half of yesterday being played right now. Okay, so let's jump back in. TikTok, thanks for being here again, y'all. I appreciate you. My name's Patrick. Make sure you hit that follow button. We just hit 56,000 followers, y'all. Unbelievable. We're trying to get 100K by the end of May. So shout out to y'all. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the gifts. You guys don't have to do that. I keep seeing the hand hearts and everything coming in. Galaxy Gang checking in as well. Thank you so much for that. And I think we need 6 more hand hearts, y'all. 6 more hand hearts will hit that goal. Thank you for that. It does help support the channel. but obviously you don't have to. You don't have to do that. Just hang out, tap the screen. That is way more than enough. So thanks for being here, y'all. Okay, let's keep going. Oh man, this is yeah.
Tammy Daybell also drove that 2004 Dodge Dakota.
And do these appear to be searches by someone attempting to figure out what it would take to shoot through a vehicle?
Yes.
Carrie, thank you so much. Thanks for the roses. So sweet.
As part of your investigation, did you also review records obtained from the Fremont County Sportsman's Club gun range?
I did.
Were you able to determine if anything linked Alex Cox to having gone to that Sportsman's Club?
Yes, Alex Cox went to the Sportsman's Club in St. Anthony, Idaho, which is a gun range, 5 times through October 7th through the 15th. He never signed in as his name on Alex Cox on the sign-on sheet. He did sign in with
And I'm going to object to speculation, Judge.
Joe, thank you so much. Appreciate the hand heart. Yeah, I think we're like 2 left. Betta says, what do you think? What about me? I keep going back and forth on whether I think she actually committed, like she like had her hands in it. I'm like, I keep kind of teetering back and forth, but the more I hear, especially the testimony from last night, y'all, I was like, what? The way she said that stuff was pretty crazy. But I 100% think she conspired. I think that she planned or had a hand in planning a lot of this. And in Idaho, if you conspire to unalive someone or you actually unalive someone, it doesn't matter. The sentence is the same, life in prison without parole in her case, because they took the unalive penalty off the table. But okay, let's keep going. And Steph, thank you so much. Looks like we hit that one. Oh my goodness, you guys are incredible. Thank you for that. I'll reset the goal. Thank you guys for the support, and make sure you hit that follow button. All right, let's keep going.
And I can ask some clarifying questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Blake.
We see on this slide that we're referencing there's a date and a time and then C. Quint. Were you able to determine what the relevance of C. Quint?
The relevance of C. Quint is the license plate, except one letter to Alex Cox's vehicle.
And are you aware during the investigation of location data placing Alex Cox's device at the Sportsman's Club on these same dates?
Yes.
Yeah, Kimberly, I try not to talk over. I try to pause it, talk, and then hit play again. So I appreciate that. And y'all, let's switch it to the little maze. See if we can hit that goal.
At some point, did you review or obtain some firearms that were recovered from the apartment complex where Alex Cox was known to reside?
I did.
Were you involved in the initial search, the execution of the initial search warrant recovering those?
I was not.
Did that in fact occur prior to your involvement in the investigation?
Yes.
At some point, did you observe firearms that were recovered during that search?
I did.
Did you, and what, if anything, did you do in relation to those firearms?
Those firearms were taken from
Kimberly, thank
the warrant that was served at those residents for safekeeping. Rexburg PD could not leave those there. Throughout our investigation, it was determined that possibly the attempted shooting on Tammy, and after having those firearms in Rexburg PD, I obtained a warrant to seize those weapons for evidence.
Jess, thank you.
And did you in fact seize those weapons?
I did.
And have they been kept in at the Fremont County Sheriff's Office
Yes.
until recently? Some of
Yes.
them may be being held in evidence here in Boise.
Correct.
Gina, yes, last night's stream is on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, there's like a podcast tab now, and you can find the Lori Vallow court reactions podcast, and all of these are getting uploaded to that. So this will be the third one, I think, that we've done on YouTube now, third or fourth maybe. And Jess, thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the corns. Jessica, thank you for the rose. And Steph, thank you for the May. Getting that one started, y'all. Can we get 100 of those? Let's see. Appreciate you guys.
Were certain of the guns of more significance to you with regard to this investigation?
Yes,
Did you photograph some of those firearms?
I did.
Do you believe if you were shown a photograph that's purported to depict some of those firearms that you would recognize it?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask that the witness be shown, and I'll have them shown two exhibits, 281A and B. And defense already has copies of these. And there's a courtesy copy for Your Honor. And you've been shown two photographs. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Are those an accurate depiction of the firearms that were seized from that apartment complex?
They are.
Did you in fact take these photographs?
These ones I did not. No.
Were you present when they were taken?
Yes.
And you can recognize those?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask for the admission of States Exhibit 281B and 281A.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, may I have voir dire?
Yes.
So these two firearms, are they here in Ada County now in the evidence locker?
The two that are here are the ones on the two on the that are taken together. Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I think that we need to, rather than having a photograph of these firearms, if he's going to testify about them, I would like the court to, the jury to be able to see what they look like and to see them actually in the courtroom.
Response.
And Your Honor, I think it's up to the state how we present evidence, and a photograph depicting an actual item is sufficient evidence.
Well, may I speak, Judge?
Go ahead.
What I think is going to happen is that he's going to akin these to being some sort of a paintball gun or being mistaken for a paintball gun. And I think the jury needs to see exactly what these things look like, how heavy they are. There's certain things that you just can't depict in a photograph.
What do y'all think? And Stacy, thanks for the maze. Prissy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. YouTube, you guys are seeing the sketch, the courtroom sketch, and he's literally pointing at the firearms in the box. So YouTube's like, they probably are able to see them because they literally courtroom sketched it. TikTok, shout out to y'all. Yes, he's to be seen in court. Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And by the way, y'all, take a second, hit that follow button. My name is Patrick. If you like true crime content, I do these live streams every single day. So if you like this kind of like podcast vibe, listening to this stuff, hit that follow button, would you? I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support, all the love. Y'all, we're trying to get 100 of these little May guys right here. If you want to, of course you don't have to, but I do appreciate it. Thanks for the support. But yeah, let's keep going. It might pause to get this stuff. So I'll just kind of fast forward until we get back to the testimony. A huge shout out to y'all. I really appreciate it. And Galaxy Gang, where you guys at? Check in, Galaxy Gang.
All right. Mr. Thomas, I'll take the objection under advisement. I'm going to allow for the admission. There's been sufficient foundation of 281A, 281B will be admitted. If the defense feels that as part of your defense, you want to have the actual evidence observed by the jurors, we'll consider that on cross-examination.
Very good, Your Honor. We just asked that the court inform the state that they need to bring that up because we will be asking for that.
Very well.
So it looks like they will, but during cross-examination, when the defense gets their turn to cross-examine this witness. Thanks for the follow,
And
y'all. I
before we
really appreciate it. You guys are really awesome. I started doing the true crime on TikTok, y'all, like 4 months ago, and the channel has been growing like crazy. So you guys, thank you so much for the love and support. We just hit 56,000 followers today. So y'all are incredible. That's all I got to say for that. Thank you so much. And make sure you guys come and subscribe over to the YouTube channel as well. Just hit the little button. There's a link in the bio, and there's like a little YouTube logo in there as well. Come over, hang out on YouTube. Also, I appreciate you guys. Plus, all of these videos, because TikTok live streams you can't rewatch, but you can rewatch it from the YouTube perspective over on the YouTube channel. All right, let's keep going. Oops, and I'm on the wrong page. There it is.
do that, counsel, I'll need to have a meeting with counsel, likely on a break, to discuss the protocols we have for firearms in the courtroom.
Very good.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it's pretty.
And Your Honor, the state has retained the original exhibit. May I please publish that for the jurors?
Yes.
Or I should say exhibits. First, I'll publish State's Exhibit 281B. And are those several of the firearms that were retrieved?
Yes.
What was it about these particular firearms that drew your attention?
The one that drew our attention was the bottom one, which is the Alexander Arms Grindle 6.5.
And if I publish State's Exhibit 281A,
Chrissy, thank
is that the one that you were talking about? Or was it the top one?
No, that is not the one I was talking about. That bottom one right there, the black one.
And what particularly was it about that firearm that drew your attention?
Erie, yeah, I wish we could see it too. Unfortunately, this judge said no to videos, pictures, live streaming, nothing. The only thing we get to that we get from this audio or from this trial is the audio. So I know I wish we could see, the prosecution. I wish we could see her face, Lori Vallow's face during all this. But yeah, the judge struck all that down before the trial started. So we get the audio at least. But yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
When Tammy Daybell first called in the attempted shooting, she described the rifle as a paintball gun.
Real quick, who's on the stand? This is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office.
Out of the firearms that were seized at the residence and after looking at all the firearms, this one stuck out because it has a larger scope on it, which could be mistaken as a hopper, which Tammy described.
And a hopper is something on a paintball gun?
Correct. A hopper is on a paintball gun that holds the paintballs inside of it.
Do you have experience shooting paintball guns?
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Growing up, used to shoot them all the time. We also use them currently in SWAT trainings and room clearing. That the guns that we have that we use for training are very identical to an AR-15 setup, which is close to this.
Jessica, thank you so much for the rose and first gift, y'all. So sweet. Thank you so much, Jess Bear. Thank you for the May as well. Thank you so very much. Kirsten Hopper looks nothing like so. Yeah, I mean, I can agree, but if you think maybe if she didn't really know that much about it and it was dusk, so it was a little bit darker, she might have assumed. And I imagine in that moment, she's hoping, and her brain is probably telling her, okay, please just be a paintball gun. Please be a paintball gun. Maybe as like a way to kind of keep her calm, possibly. But the prosecution is trying to present that this could be mistaken for a paintball gun and that they want to prove that it was and that Alex Cox was the one holding it. Yeah. Okay, let's keep on going. And y'all, TikTok, thank you so much. make sure you hit that follow button. And we're very close to 100,000 likes, y'all. 89,900 likes now. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. Diana, yes, I am on YouTube as well. And we're live streaming on YouTube also. So shout out to YouTube. Same name. Y'all search The Haunted Side or click the link in the bio. Subscribe over to the YouTube channel as well. All right, let's keep going.
Also has a hopper on it, and that's my experience with them.
Are you also familiar with AR-15s?
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about your experience with those?
Experience with those is training throughout my law enforcement career and shooting them prior to. You can put several different accessories on them and optics on them.
If I may have just a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
Your Honor, may we have a brief sidebar?
Yes. All right, thank you. Counsel, you can continue with your direct display.
And the other photo we looked at that was not the gun in question, was that another firearm that was retrieved from the search at the apartments associated with Alex Cox?
Yes.
Thank you. Amy, thank you for the rose.
And you've talked about your experience with paintball guns. Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be shown State's Exhibit 282. I have a courtesy copy for the court. I'll hang on to the original briefly, and defense counsel already has a copy.
Very well.
Do you recognize what's just been shown to you?
I do.
And do you recognize the first image depicted there?
I do.
And is that the firearm that you've been referencing?
Yes, that is the Alexander Arms Grendel 6.5.
And the second item there, do you recognize that image?
I do.
And what would that be depicting?
That is a Tippmann paintball gun.
And that is just an example of one, correct?
Correct.
That was not recovered from anywhere?
It was not.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of State's Exhibit 282 as a demonstrative exhibit.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. It's inflammatory. It does not depict what was actually seen that night. There's no way of knowing that. There's been no foundation as to what paintball gun was used that night, or if any at all. I mean, it's just inflammatory, and it's more prejudicial than probative at this point, even as a demonstrative exhibit.
And Your Honor, if I may respond.
Go ahead.
We did actually hear a description of the firearm in that email sent from Tammy to her son, specifically referencing a hopper. We've heard testimony from the detective regarding a hopper on a paintball gun, his experience with them, his experience with AR-15s, and the likeness. In addition, we've clearly established that this is not that the bottom one is not a firearm that was recovered, and that it is simply for demonstrative purposes.
All right, the court has considered this proposed exhibit under Rule 403, and having considered that rule, I am going to sustain the objection that I'm not going to permit the admission of Exhibit 282 as a demonstrative exhibit, as it could cause prejudice or confusion. So for that reason, the objection is sustained, and that will not be admitted.
Thank you.
Again, y'all, I mean, you can't argue that the judge isn't fair. Pretty fair ruling.
Detective, again, you do have experience with using paintball guns and AR-15s?
Correct.
And there are similarities between the two?
Correct.
Specifically, I think you referenced a hopper on a paintball gun.
Correct.
And what part of an AR-15 would that be similar to?
Again, I go back to, you can put several different accessories on an AR-15 and a rifle. You can put scopes on there, optics, things like that.
And was there something like that on the AR-15 recovered in the residence or in the apartment complex linked to Alexander Cox?
On the Alexander Arms Grinnell 6.5, yes, there was.
See? Steph, thank you so much. An absurd amount of TikTok logos. Pink Shadow, thank you so much. Alyssa, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. Thank you for the love. 406 of them. Wow. Pink Shadow, thank you so much as well. Y'all, you do not have to send the gifts, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take a second, hit that follow button too. There's almost 700 of you guys watching still, so shout out to y'all. Appreciate it. Thank you for the hand heart too. Lorraine, thank you so much. And y'all, 200 likes away from 100K. Unbelievable. You guys are absolutely fantastic. All right, let's keep going. Again, y'all, this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and he is testifying in Lori Vallow's trial. Let's see what else we've got going on. And by the way, happy Thursday, everyone. It's still morning time out here, but good afternoon to everybody. Hopefully you've got your coffee or tea or something. Cheers to everybody. And let's keep on going.
And I'm going to move forward a little bit, and we'll circle back to some of these other questions a little bit later. Through your investigation, did you learn of or review an email that was sent from Charles to Tammy?
I did.
And would that be Charles Vallow?
Correct.
Did you also review or obtain an email sent from Charles to Chad Daybell?
I did.
And what were those emails referencing, if you recall?
The email that was sent to Tammy Daybell from Charles Vallow was in regards to Charles was aware of a possible cheating going on between his wife and Chad Daybell, and he would like to meet with her and talk with her to discuss that. He didn't want to send all that information in an email.
Were you ever able to determine through your investigation if Tammy ever actually read that email?
I was not.
So to this day, you do not know or have not been able to determine if that was actually read by her or not.
That is correct.
And then the
West Coaster, welcome. Thank you for being here. Y'all, thanks for popping in. Jess, thank you so much. Jess Bear, 104 more logos coming in. Oh my goodness. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much for the love. All right, let's keep on going. So somebody asked, "Is that your? Are you asking if Lori Vallow is my girlfriend?" Absolutely not. No. But we did talk about how Alec Murdaugh and Brian Koberger were getting love letters and stuff like that in prison. I wonder if she's getting letters in prison. I would imagine so, right?
email from Charles to Chad, do you recall the content or the gist of that email?
The email from Charles Vallow to Chad Daybell was sent on the same day, and it was in regards to Chad needed to stop talking to his wife, Lori, and tell his wife, Tammy, what was going on.
Janelle, thank you so much. Doris, thank you so much.
And those emails were sent prior to October 18th or 19th of 2019?
Correct.
And moving forward a little bit, did you end up conducting or requesting a geofence warrant for several locations at some point in your investigation?
I did.
What locations did you request those warrants for, or that warrant for?
The two locations that I requested a geofence warrant was for 202 North, 1900 East, which is Tamara and Chad Daybell's residence. The second geofence that I asked for was at 3462 North Salem Highway, which is the LDS church just down from the Daybell residence.
Alyssa, thank you.
And what date range did you request on that warrant?
From October 18th into October 19th, 2019.
Did you request a certain perimeter?
I did. I requested 150 meters perimeter.
And did you request the 150 meters for each location?
Correct.
And with regard to it, and was that warrant actually granted?
It was.
Did you receive responsive documents?
I did.
Did you review those?
I did.
When you get responsive documents on a geofence warrant, can you talk us through a little bit about the process from there or what you did?
When we get a signed warrant from the judge granting us that, law enforcement needs to go onto the Google website and go into their law enforcement portal.
Well, I didn't know Google has a law enforcement portal. Oh, snap. Y'all, by the way, thanks for the follows. I really appreciate it. If you like true crime content, welcome to the family. My name's Patrick. We'd love to have you. I go live every single day, y'all, usually around 9 a.m. Pacific time, and then usually in the afternoon, closer to like 5, 6 o'clock Pacific time, and then evening times around 9, 10 o'clock Pacific time. So many live streams. Plus, I post the videos up on this channel constantly as well. So if you like this kind of content, y'all, the podcast vibe, true crime, I appreciate it. Give me a follow. And shout out, guys, because we're also live streaming on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. Good to see you guys as well. And if you want to rewatch this one, because you can't rewatch the TikTok live streams, you can watch it from the YouTube point of view over on the YouTube channel, y'all. Same name, The Haunted Side, over on YouTube. Go subscribe. Links are in the bio. Thank you so much. And y'all, we're trying to hit the TikTok logo goal right now, and we're very close. Very close, y'all. Hit me with those TikTok logos if you want to. Again, you don't have to, but I do appreciate the love and the support. And thanks for the follows, guys. Seriously. Thank you so much.
At that time, the warrant is entered into their law enforcement portal, and Google will respond with any information that is granted on that warrant. Once I got the information back from Google, it came back with what's called a Google identification number.
Life is good. Thank you.
And when you get those Google identification numbers, what, if anything, are you looking for or do you do with that information?
So when we get the Google identification numbers, that number does not tell us who that number is associated with or who that number belongs to on a device. We then have to write another warrant for those numbers to Google with the same process, and Google is able to tell off those numbers what device that's connected to and who is associated with that device.
Yeah, we learned about that in one of the other testimonies, y'all, that they basically set up a geofence. So they tell Google, look, we want to know any phone, any device that crossed inside this threshold. And Google says, okay. And so they go back, and if they get the warrant, they go through and they say, all right, there were this many devices that crossed through here. Now, if they do that in like a heavily populated place, I mean, you're talking potentially hundreds of thousands, millions of devices, right? But specifically here, we're talking about rural Idaho. So maybe tens, maybe hundreds, depending on where. So that's what he's saying. They get the numbers and stuff back, but they don't get who that person is. So they're going to go through that data, find numbers that are there consistently or in timeframes that they need, and then write a warrant to get that specific identifying information for the ones of interest based on who was in the geofence at times or as many times or whatever is relevant to the investigation. We learned that from another testimony. And they did have 18 burner phones, J9, exactly. Yeah. So, okay, let's keep on going. And y'all, thanks for the follows. I really appreciate it. And y'all, TikTok logos, we're almost there. We're almost there. Y'all hit me with those TikTok logos, please. And thank you.
Were there certain Google identifier numbers that you ended up requesting additional information for?
There was 4.
And why did you request for those 4? What were you looking for with those Google identifiers?
So when I first got the Google identifiers back on my first warrant, I met with Detective Stubbs with Rexburg PD. We had gone through those numbers and went through the 2 geofences that were requested, and went down and scaled it down from numbers that had been going through the first geofence into the second geofence.
Exactly what I just said, yo. Jess, thank you so much. 143 TikTok logos. You're amazing. Thank you so much. And if you guys are curious who this is, it's the Lori Vallow Daybell trial. So this is Lori Vallow here behind me on TikTok. And we're listening to the testimony from yesterday because there's no live streaming of this proceedings. So we get the audio from each day at the end of each day. So this is the second half because we listened to the first half last night. And this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu. I think I got that right again. He's a detective with the Fremont County Sheriff's Office. All right, let's keep going.
Those numbers were then taken and another warrant was wrote. During that process, I was informed by Detective Stubbs that he had recognized the number off of my geofence warrant. That number, he had previously wrote a warrant, which was associated with Homer J. Maximus, which returned to Alex Cox.
With regard to the 4 that you followed up on, did you determine there was any connection in relation to your investigation?
On the numbers that I received.
The ones not linked to the Homer J. Maximus account? I guess let me back up and ask it this way. With those 4 numbers, did you do any follow-up?
I did.
And based on your follow-up, did you determine that those numbers had any connection to your investigation?
Yes, and they did not.
Did you actually speak with the individuals or determine why they would have been in that area?
2 of them I did speak with. The third one I could not get a hold of. I did do some research on Facebook and found out where he lived and ended at that because I couldn't get a hold of him.
And did he live within the vicinity of where these geofence warrants were being conducted?
He did. He lived north of the Daybell residence off of Trapper Lane.
And with the geofence warrant, do you know what kind of data that's looking at, whether it's GPS, Wi-Fi, or cellular?
The geofence warrant goes off of wireless information and GPS information.
So it does not include the cell data information?
Does not. That I'm aware of.
And you indicated that Detective Stubbs recognized one of those Google identifiers as belonging to Alex, or as belonging to a device associated or an account associated with Alex Cox. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you do further investigation to determine, well, I'll back up. Which location was that device? You said you did a warrant for 2 different locations.
Yo, Jess, thank you so much. Jenny, thank you so much. Prissy, thank you so much. Animal Lover, thank you for the rose. You guys are so sweet. We hit that goal. Unbelievable. Jess Bear coming in strong. Thank you so much. Janelle, thank you so much. I appreciate the love, y'all. Take a second, hit that follow button too if you're new here. My name is Patrick. If you like true crime content, welcome to the family. Take a second. If you're scrolling on TikTok right now, you might as well hit the follow. You might as well. Because I've seen some of the live streams, y'all, and I was like, man, y'all need some content. You need some substance here. So I'm trying to bring you guys the very best that I can. So shout out and thanks for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And we hit that goal too, so unbelievable. All right, I'm going to update that, and let's continue on listening to Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu testifying in Lori Vallow's trial.
Which location was the device associated with Alex Cox showing at?
That device was shown at the Salem Church.
Were you able to determine approximately what time frame that device was showing as being there?
That device was shown at the Salem Church at 10:07 p.m. on October 18th, 2019.
At some point, were you able to determine the last point or data point for that device at the Salem Church?
That device was shown there from 10:07 p.m. to 10:45 p.m.
And then at that point, did you have any other hits or data points within the vicinity of your search warrant for that device?
I did not.
Did you, through your investigation, learn of another data point later that night associated with that device?
Yes, at 11:53 p.m., that device, or Homer J. Maximus, connected to a device, was later picked up on Wi-Fi 7 minutes away on Highway 20 from the Salem Church.
Through your Google search warrant or the Geofence, did you locate a device associated with Chad Daybell in either location?
I did not.
Through your investigation, did you learn of or review statements made by Chad Daybell as to his whereabouts on the night of October 19th into the morning hours of, or October 18th into the morning hours of October 19th?
Through other interviewers and deputies, Chad Daybell had made statements that he was at home.
And yet none of his devices were showing within the Geofence.
Correct.
Do you know when Tammy's funeral was held?
Tammy's funeral was held on October 22nd, 2019.
Within approximately 3 days after she was pronounced dead?
Correct.
Do you know where that funeral was held?
Springville, Utah.
Through your investigation, did you learn or determine if Tammy had any life insurance policies?
She did.
How many policies did she have?
3 or 2.
And do you know who the beneficiary was?
Chad Daybell.
And when you say 3, were there 3 different amounts referenced across 2 policies?
There was Primerica, Life Map, and then Idaho Percy.
So the Idaho Percy was the 3rd one,
Correct.
which is a retirement.
Correct.
Was
Deb, thank you for the crown, the little crown. I appreciate that. I switched the goal to that, y'all. The little crown, y'all. If you want, help support the channel. At least, though, y'all don't have to do that. You don't have to send the gifts. Galaxy Gang check in, though. But you don't have to do that. But at least, if you're enjoying the content, y'all, hit that follow button and tap the screen like crazy. I really appreciate that. But let's see if we can get 100 of these little crowns. I think it makes me blush, too. Does it make me blush? You guys show me again.
Chad Daybell the beneficiary of all of those?
Yes.
Through your investigation, did you determine
Motive? Motive much, y'all? Doesn't it? It totals like $430,000 too.
if the life insurance paid out?
Yes.
And who did they pay out to?
Chad Daybell.
Are you aware if Chad Daybell has pending charges for insurance fraud?
He does.
Do you know where those are pending?
He has 2 counts of insurance fraud out of Fremont County.
Jamie, thank you.
And Your Honor, I think with the additional questions I have for this witness, we discussed in a sidebar maybe breaking and reconvening with additional questions after lunch.
Okay. We will go ahead and take our lunch recess at this time. We will try to get started again just before 1 o'clock, probably 12:50 or 12:55.
All right, please. And I've still got a good half hour, so maybe a little longer. So I'll fast forward until we get back in. Sammy, thank you for the crowd. I'm gonna fast forward, y'all. Hopefully that lady was okay.
No. 624 State of Idaho versus Lori Vallow completed the lunch break. Jurors are all present and accounted for. Detective Kaaiakamanu is on the stand still. I'll remind the witness you're under oath, and the state is continuing its direct examination, I believe, at this time.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Blake, if you'd like to continue with direct, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Kaaiakamanu, we had talked about some guns that were retrieved from the apartment complex where Alex Cox was residing. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And one gun in particular seemed to draw the most attention from you. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what type of firearm was that again?
That was the Alexander Arms Grendel 6.5.
And do you believe if you were shown that firearm again, you would recognize it?
Yes.
Your Honor, I believe that we do have the firearm here. If we could have it brought into the courtroom, I believe it's State's Exhibit 280.
Exhibit 280.
I believe it's 280.
All right.
I'll make sure to have the detective properly identify it to make sure I have the correct exhibit number.
All right. We'll have the firearm brought into the courtroom. As we're doing that, let me just advise you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, any firearms that are offered into evidence in the case, we'll make sure are unloaded. There's no ammunition anywhere in the courtroom for any firearms that would be admitted into evidence. The firearms also, steps have been taken to render them inoperable. I'll have the bailiff explain that a little bit more once the firearms brought in here. The firearms will not be handled at any point by the jurors, either during trial or during deliberations, but may be available for inspection with the assistance of law enforcement. And with that in mind, we'll have the law enforcement bring in the firearm that would be State's Exhibit 280.
They probably have to put one of those. They probably have to put one of those locks go where the trigger is. You know what I'm talking about? Where you can't even like get to the trigger.
And Your Honor, I believe there may be 2 more items with that, and I can get those exhibit numbers.
Okay.
I'll fast forward just a little bit, y'all.
Witness leave the stand to review those items, or do you want them handed to him?
I think it'd be best if he did step down and just personally review the items and then can return to the stand for foundational questions. So, Detective, if you'd like to step down, you can go ahead and observe the items there on the table.
And there are 3 items there. I believe the other 2 are going to be State's Exhibits 278 and 279, but I will have the detective identify those first, what they are.
All right. So the gun itself is 280, is that correct?
Is that in fact the AR-15?
This is the Grendel 6.5.
And I can have him say that into the mic if the court would like, but yes, so that would be Exhibit 280.
Okay.
And what did you identify that firearm as?
So that firearm right there is the Alexander Arms Grendel 6.5 with a vortex scope on it.
And did you see the other item sitting next to it?
I did.
And could you identify what those are?
Those are solvent traps that were drilled into to make a homemade suppressor.
Were those also recovered during the search of the apartment complex associated with Alex Cox?
They were.
And y'all keep in mind, he Google searched how to make that suppressor, or somebody with that they believe is that email address that they believe is linked to him Googled how to make that, and it was seized on his property in his apartment.
And were those seized by Fremont County?
They were first seized by Rexburg PD for safekeeping, and then Fremont County seized them on a search warrant. Yes.
And they've remained in the custody of Fremont County?
Yes.
And is that in fact the firearm that we saw in a photo earlier?
Yes.
And again, you went over your experience with paintball guns and your experience with AR-15s. And I don't know if the witness could step down to point out some things with regard to that firearm, or if we'd like it held up for him to do that.
Let's get to the detail of getting these admitted into evidence.
Your Honor, given the identification by the detective, the state would move for their admission.
All right. Any objection to Exhibit 280, which is the gun?
If I may have voir dire and aid.
You can voir dire.
Detective, this is the gun that's in the cardboard box, correct? That you seized from Alex Cox's apartment?
That was seized from Alex Cox's apartment.
All right. And you know that to be the gun that was seized from his apartment. You said I guess what I'm saying is you weren't there when it was seized.
Correct. I was not there.
All right, but based on your collective knowledge within the police department, you believe that to be the same gun that was seized from Alex's apartment?
Correct.
All right, and you identified states 278 and 279 as being, I couldn't really hear what you called them.
Baffles or solvent traps?
Baffles or solvent traps. Okay, what is that?
From my knowledge, a baffle is a device that could be used to make suppressors for a firearm.
Is it just a piece of metal?
From my understanding, yes.
Okay, so those are just two pieces of metal that you found in with or near the gun that was seized at the house?
Correct.
Okay, I have no objection, Judge.
Okay, so exhibits 280 and 278 and 279 are all admitted. And so, Ms. Blake, you can continue with your direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I don't know if there's a mic or a way for the detective to be able to step down to identify some things with regard to that firearm for the jury.
We'll get him a wireless mic.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I wonder if that wireless mic is going to have issues, y'all, because almost all these microphones have had issues. The projector had issues. The whole courtroom's been plagued with issues, but let's see. By the way, shout out if you're new on TikTok. There's still about 800 of you guys watching. Amazing. You guys are incredible. Take a second, hit that follow button, would you? My name's Patrick. If you like true crime content, true crime live streams, true crime podcasts, vibe, this is what I do. I do like 2, 3, sometimes 4 a day. So hit that follow button if you like this kind of content. I really appreciate the support. You guys are absolutely amazing. We're also live streaming on YouTube, so shout out to YouTube. And if you guys want to rewatch this from the YouTube perspective, it's going to be available on that page. All you got to do is head over and subscribe. Go subscribe, y'all. YouTube is in the bio. And thank you for the gifts. You guys don't have to send the gifts, but I appreciate it. Laura, thank you for the little crown. And it's funny. It makes me blush. Thank you for that, y'all. We're trying to hit that goal, too. Can we get 100 of them? I think that's the impossible goal. I don't think we can get it. D-Lane says, I'm new here. Welcome to the family. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you so very, very, very much. All right, let's keep on going. And Sarah, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that, y'all. All right, let's keep going. Done, right? Exactly.
And while we're waiting for that, you talked about those pieces of metal. Would those also be referred to as silencers
Correct.
in common lingo?
Yeah, they could be.
And if you could step down and approach that exhibit 280.
D-Lane, thank you.
And you had described earlier your experience with paintball guns and the AR-15s, correct?
Thank you.
Correct.
When you're looking at that, you talked about a hopper on a paintball gun and something on an AR that could look similar. Does this AR, in fact, have what you were referring to?
And a scope on it, vortex scope, which is a very large scope that could be screwed as a hopper.
And in your experience on the paintball guns you've used, is that where the hopper is located on a paintball gun?
The hopper on a paintball gun can sometimes come off of the side of the gun and come right up to on top of the rail.
Randy, thank you.
And in your experience, some of the paintball guns you've used, can they be approximately the same size as that firearm?
Yes.
Yeah. Lisa B, thank you for the tiny diny. Y'all, I really appreciate you.
And Your Honor, I would ask permission for the detective or someone to hold that up to display it for the jurors and then have those that scope pointed out again to make sure that they can observe it.
All right, I'd ask Deputy Vallow if you would assist in that, please.
And detective,
This is where it would be nice to be able to actually see the video, right, guys?
Kaaiakamanu, if you could just go over and point again where you were saying that scope is to make sure the jurors can see it.
Again, right here is the vortex scope that comes down on the top of the rail of the rifle.
And if you could describe again where the hopper is sometimes located on paintball guns you have experience using.
And before we answer, Mr. Thomas, would you like to go where you can observe what's being pointed out?
Missy RN, shout out to the nurses. Thank you for the crown. Trina, thank you so much for the telescope. Cupcake, thanks for the rose. First gift, too. Thank you so much for the first gift. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much. Prissy, thanks for the logos. You guys are unbelievable. All right, let's keep on listening.
Thanks, Judge.
All right.
And Your Honor, would you like me to have him point out that scope again once Mr. Thomas is there?
Now, yes, thank you, Ms. Blake.
So now that Mr. Thomas, can you see? Detective Kaaiakamanu, can you once again point out where that scope is that you're referencing?
So again, the vortex scope is on the top of the rail of the rifle.
And in your experience working with paintball guns, can you indicate again where the hopper is located?
On a paintball gun, paintball gun comes out the side and comes up right above the rail of the paintball gun.
And in your experience, can a paintball gun resemble an AR-15?
Yes.
Just one moment. And I don't have any additional questions at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Blake. Go ahead and just have the exhibit set down on the table there. Thank you, Mr. Bailiff.
Let's see where the cross-examination of the defense is going to go.
All right, Mr. Thomas, cross-examination.
Detective, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good.
Jojo, I feel that.
So, you indicate that you've worked for Fremont County for a number of years. How many years was that?
18.
18. And how long as a detective?
7.
Star is born. Thank you so much.
And you indicate that you're a lieutenant over the detectives at this time?
Sergeant over detectives.
Sergeant. And how long have you been the sergeant over the detectives?
Approximately year and a half.
Okay. So you were just a regular detective, and now you're the sergeant over the detectives. Is that right?
Correct.
There hasn't been any move back to patrol or back to another capacity in the sheriff's office in the last 7 years. You've been in the detectives division?
Correct.
Okay. All right. You indicate that you had some special training. You went to post. Did you go to college anywhere before post, or?
I did not.
Okay. So the first thing that Ms. Blake had you talk about was the October 19th incident where Ms. Daybell had passed away. On that particular day, you said that you were on call. You were the on-call detective. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So, and how many detectives do you have in your division?
At that time, we had myself and one other detective.
And that was
Detective Mattingly.
Mattingly. And then Greenhalgh was not a detective.
Correct. She was
Okay.
not.
So it's you and Mattingly are detectives on October 19th, 2019. So you switch off between being on call for that? Is that how it works?
Correct.
Okay. And so you're on call that night. You get a call from Greenhalgh, but you don't answer it because you're asleep or something else is going on. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. And so she talks to Detective Mattingly, but you still go out to the scene later that morning?
Negative. I didn't go out to the scene.
Okay. So Greenhalgh was at the scene, Mattingly was at the scene, and then there were 2 coroners at the scene?
There was 2 coroners at the scene, Deputy Greenhalgh, and I do not believe Detective Mattingly went to the scene.
Oh, he didn't go to the scene either?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. But you somehow got in touch with Greenhalgh or Mattingly and talked about whether or not there needed to be further investigation. Is that right?
Correct.
You were asking about suspicious circumstances?
Correct.
And there was nothing out of the ordinary about the death at that time?
Not that I was informed of.
Okay.
Hmm.
And who else did you talk to besides Greenhalgh? Did you talk to Mattingly?
That same day?
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay. So you only talked to Greenhalgh?
Correct.
Did you talk to either of the coroners?
I did not.
Okay. So based on that, were you the one that made the call that there wasn't going to be any follow-up investigation on that?
I was not.
Who was the one who made that call?
I believe it was Detective Mattingly and the coroners.
Okay. So Mattingly didn't go out to the scene. So were you the sergeant over? Were you in charge, the head guy at that time, or no?
At the time, I was not a sergeant, no.
Okay. Who was the sergeant over you guys?
We didn't have a sergeant at the time. It was Lieutenant Powell that was over the detective division.
Okay. And did either of you go to Lieutenant Powell and chat with him about this at all? On that particular day, I guess I should clarify that. On that particular day, October 19th.
Trina.
I believe Detective Mattingly spoke with Lieutenant Powell. I am not aware of what was said in that conversation.
Okay. All right. But then you indicate that a couple weeks later, you got involved with, or the Fremont County Sheriff's Office got involved with Tammy's death, right?
Correct.
And you got involved in March of 2020.
Yeah, around that time.
Okay.
Yes.
The state said that this was some sort of a joint investigation because it involved an investigation of Brandon Boudreaux, the two missing kids, as well as Charles Vallow. Is that right?
Correct.
And when you say joint investigation, what is your understanding of what a joint investigation is?
My understanding of a joint investigation is criminal activity that's happened over several jurisdictions and states, and that's when we get involved if something happened in our jurisdiction.
And I probably phrased it poorly. Let me just ask you this: when I say joint investigation, and you say, "Yeah, we were involved in a joint investigation," what kind of sharing of information goes on? I mean, are you fully involved? Are you not very involved? How does that work?
At the time when Fremont County got involved, we were asked to locate a Jeep out of Texas, or the plate out of Texas. That Jeep belonged to Tylee Ryan, and she had gone missing. That is, I believe, when Lieutenant Powell got that call. And that's how we got involved.
Okay. And how about when you got involved?
When I got involved, it was our
Preciously Psychic. Thank you. Thank you for the hand heart. Very sweet. Y'all shout out.
already underway with the attempted shooting of Brandon Boudreaux, the homicide on Charles Vallow, Tylee and JJ missing, and then the suspicious death into Tammy Daybell.
Okay. And so you were part of that joint investigation starting in March of 2020, correct?
Correct.
All right. So were you in the know about the investigation of the Brandon Boudreaux shooting?
I was aware of it, yes.
Okay. And are you aware if they were able to find any shell casings or any bullets or anything like that?
I don't believe they did, but I can't say yes or no on that.
Okay. And that's kind of where I was going with the joint investigation. How much did you know about what other jurisdictions knew? So that's kind of where I'm going with my questions for you. So you didn't know if they found any bullets or any casings or anything like that in the Brandon Boudreaux investigation?
Correct.
All right. And then you started investigating the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell. Were you the point man on that?
I didn't investigate that. I looked into that report, and no, I was not the point deputy on that case.
Who was the point on that case?
Deputy Coulter Cannon.
Okay. All right.
We heard his
So
testimony.
when you say you looked into it, what do you mean you looked into it?
When I got involved on Tammy Daybell's death, I had figured out that previous we got a call for an attempted shooting at that residence. And so that's when I read his report and started looking into it that way.
So you read Coulter Cannon's report?
Correct.
Okay. And then there was an email that was circulated and that was actually brought into evidence. You recall that this morning?
If you're referring to the one that Tammy wrote to Mark, then yes.
Yes, I'm referring to Exhibit 291. Can I take a look at 291, please?
Y'all, real quick, if you're new here, take a second, hit that follow button. My name's Patrick. If you like true crime live streams, welcome to the family. We're listening to the proceedings from the Lori Vallow Daybell trial. There's no live streams, y'all. So we only get the audio that was recorded each day at the very end of each day. So last night we listened to about half of what was recorded yesterday. This is the second half of what was recorded yesterday. And here in just a minute, I'm going to let him, maybe he'll finish up with the cross, but here in about 10 minutes or so, I have to head out for a little bit, y'all, but I'll be back on later this afternoon to finish up the rest of this. And then, of course, when the audio from today is released, we're going to be listening to that as well. But huge shout out for everybody that's in here right now. We got almost 130,000 likes on TikTok. So shout out. Make sure you hit that follow button. And y'all, we're trying to hit this little goal, the hand hearts here. If you're enjoying the content, hit me with the little hand heart. It's very much appreciated. Obviously, you don't have to, but I appreciate it. Also, we're trying to hit that subscriber goal on TikTok, y'all. You can subscribe to the page to help support it and create more content. We're at 115 out of 121. Take a second if you guys want to subscribe. That would be amazing. But again, you don't have to. Just come in, hang out during the streams. Give me a follow if you don't mind. That is always way more than enough. So huge shout out, but let's keep going. Like I said, I got about another 10 minutes or so, but let's keep listening. And this is Detective Vince Kaaiakamanu from the Fremont County Sheriff's Office talking right now, testifying.
Thank you. Can I publish parts of 291?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So this.
Pookie Baby says, Patrick, what's your full-time job? So I actually own a sales and marketing consultant firm. So I do like sales consulting for companies and stuff like that. I teach people how to sell things, I guess, is kind of a basic rundown of it. Hey, Christy is convinced.
So this is the first page of 291. You recall reading from the bottom of that page earlier?
Yes.
Okay. And you basically just referenced who it was to and who it was from, right?
Correct.
But you reviewed the entire email, right?
Correct.
All right. But the email is 3 pages long, is that right?
I would have to look at it again.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Cassie, hello. Good to see you.
So this first page really doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about or what we're here for today, correct?
Correct.
All right. What does it have to do with, if you even recall?
She had emailed several people. This one looks like it's emailed to Shirley Newman. They talk about a lot of church stuff. She goes back and forth. She emails several people on all that.
Okay. And I guess I'm wondering, how is it that the stuff that's really pertinent got put onto this particular email?
That I cannot answer.
Okay.
Crystal, no, unfortunately, we can't watch this trial live. The judge said no to live streams or live audio of this proceeding, but we do get the audio. So we get the audio, obviously, but we get it at the end of each day for that day. So right now we're listening to what the second half of yesterday because we listened to the first half last night. Yeah. And thanks for the gift, y'all. We're trying to hit that hand heart goal. Give me with those hand hearts, y'all.
So now I'm flipping to page 2. And what is that email? What is that portion of the email about?
So the beginning of this portion of the email, Tammy is talking about how her neighbor's dog was out and somebody drove by and took her neighbor's dog.
Stole the dog. And Mrs. Price got in her vehicle, chased the person who stole her dog down, and confronted her, got her dog back, and then went into labor. And that portion of the email about stealing the dog actually becomes pertinent to this investigation, doesn't it?
I wouldn't say pertinent.
Okay. What would you call it?
I would just say it was part of an email that she wrote to Mark on what was happening on the events of that day.
Okay. Let's turn to the last page of this email.
Weaver, thank you for the rose. And the hand heart.
So the last page of this email, the first full paragraph, starting with his theory. Do you know who he is when they're talking about his theory?
She is referring to Mr. Price.
All right. And Mr. Price is referenced in the line just above it, right?
Correct.
All right. And that's how you know that it's Mr. Price.
Correct.
All right. Would you go ahead and read that paragraph for me?
His theory is that the crazy dog lady brought her husband back to steal the dog again. They had parked down the road, and he had snuck through the cow fields. He was going to cut through the front yard when I pulled up and startled him. He didn't know what to do, so he panicked and tried to menace me with the non-real gun, and then ran off across the field, which would explain why he ran to the north side of the house and why I never heard a car and we couldn't find anyone or him anywhere. It's actually a pretty good theory, and Matt is going to do some amateur sleuthing since the lady told Regan where she lives. I'll keep you posted if we ever figure anything else out.
Okay. And so when you followed up with this and you talked to Matt or talked to Regan, what did you find out?
That's what was happening, and that was his theory.
And when you talked to the guy, the lady that stole the dog, when you talked to her husband, what did he have to say?
I didn't talk to him.
You didn't follow up on this lead?
I did not.
You didn't think it was a credible lead?
I did not.
Okay. In fact, let's ask this. I don't want to jump the gun here.
Yo, I might actually, this is probably a good spot to pause because I've got to run some errands. I've got some things to do. But don't worry, y'all. I'm going to be back on. But if you're watching on YouTube, shout out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream on YouTube. Take care. I'll see you guys very, very soon. A little bit later on tonight, I'll be back on. So YouTube, shout out, hit that like button, subscribe, do all the things, please, and thank you.